So in the previous session, we created the business process for account opening. We created the relevant business objects, and in today's session, we are going to create the coach views. Coach views are basically reusable components that can be incorporated on multiple coaches, and coaches are part of the task services that are created or that are attached to each of the human steps we have in the process. Okay, so why coach views? Because coach views are reusable components. Okay, and if you create, let's say, a coach view for customer information, you don't have to again create it for the different task service. Okay, if you create it for one task service, I mean, you can easily drag drop and use the same coach view on the other task service. Okay, so I mean, if you have 5 tasks and you have to show the customer information section on each of those tasks, if you'll create the coach view once, and you will drag drop the coach view onto those onto the coaches of those task services, and you can define the visibilities accordingly, whether the fields have to be read only or editable on a particular task, or they have to be required. You can manage the visibility, so those can be done using the configurations. Okay, so let's move on and try to create a coach view for each of the business objects that we have. The first one is request details, so I will just click the plus icon. I'll go over here, view, and I will create a request details CV. Okay, this is the first CV we are going to create, and I'll click the finish button. Okay, what I can do now is I can have a panel over here. I'll drag drop a panel. I can rename that panel as request details. Okay, and then I can maybe keep a vertical section first. Okay, a vertical layout. In this vertical layout, I can have a horizontal layout because I want a 2-column approach, so maybe I can use a horizontal layout over here, another horizontal layout. Okay, multiple horizontal layouts, and then maybe in the horizontal layout I can keep 2 horizontal sections like this. Okay, one horizontal over here and the other horizontal over next to it. Okay, so this is a vertical section. Okay, and then there is a horizontal section over here. In the horizontal section, I have placed 2 horizontal sections. Again, this is a horizontal section, and I have placed 2 horizontal sections within this horizontal layout. Now I can easily drag drop my fields. The first one is request ID. It's not necessary to show the request ID on the coach view, so let's start with the reference number. Display text. Okay, it can be a display text. What's next? Let's drag drop first. I mean, request type, request ID, request start date. Okay, request type is a drop down, so it has to be a select, single select. Okay, request type, and then what else we have? The request start date and the requester ID. It's going to be a date, request start date. Okay, date time picker, and then the requester ID again can be a display text. So I'm going to take display text, and I'm going to drag drop this field into this horizontal layout. I can rename these fields now using just click on the field and go to the general tab, and here you can rename the field. I can name it as reference number. Okay, I can rename this one to request type. Okay, this will be a drop down. I can rename this one is to request date. Okay, and then this can be renamed to requester ID, the one who is the user, or we can have requester name or requester, it's fine. I mean, for the demo purpose, let's name it as requester ID. Okay, so now what I can do, the next step is to go to the variables. Okay, you can see there are different configuration options. Business data is basically the object that will be used for the binding in the coach view. I mean, you can have the same object can be passed through a configuration option as well, but it's better that configurations is used to manage any lists that are binded with the drop downs in the coach view. You can pass in the visibility options for the different fields, or you can later on, if we get a chance, we'll see how the services are added through the configuration options. Okay, we will see that. But for just keeping it simple at the very start, let's define the business object, and we'll define some configuration options as well. Okay, so for the business data, we already have the request details object. Okay, I'm going to define its name and do its binding from here. I'm going to select request details. Okay, for the configuration, for now what we can do is, since this is a drop down, okay, and obviously a drop down has to have a list that is binded with this control in order to reflect what request types the user can select. It can be a single account, joint account, it can be a conditional account, it can be a minor guardian account. Okay, there can be multiple options. So for this demo, let's keep it like let's first add the configuration option. Later we'll see how we need to populate it. Okay, so I'll just pass a list to it and name it as request type list. Okay, and then its type would be list because it can have multiple values, and it has to be a name value pair. So I think I discussed in the previous lecture that it's better to have a name value pair whenever we choose a define drop downs or lists, because drop down list, sorry, because each item can have a name and a unique value. Okay, the value can be different from the name, and normally we have some codes in the value, so it's better to have it as a name value pair. Okay, this is it, the configuration, and this is done. The business data is defined. Next is to bind these fields with the objects that is defined. So first you have to click on this. Okay, you will select this request details dot reference number. Okay, request type, you will come here, you will select request details, you will select the request type. So request type is a string over here, we have to amend. Okay, we have to amend and change this to a name value pair. I go over here, I select this, I go to the request type and just change it to a name value pair. Simple as that. Okay. Okay, next what I do is I go to the request details CV, I open my layout, I have to bind the request type like this. Okay, but this is just the selected value. This will just hold the selected value, like if I selected a single or a minor account from this drop down. Okay, the value that is selected will go into this object request details dot request type. But what about the list? Where does the list come from? You select this drop down. Okay, you select this control, go to the configuration option, you go to the items. Okay, expand them, and I'll say just pick my items for this drop down from a configuration option. I'll select configuration option, items input data it says. So item input data I'll just select, and I'll say okay, please pick the items from this request type list. Okay, don't worry, this list is empty at the moment. We'll learn later how we populate this list. Okay, we'll learn later. Okay, item selection data, if you expand this, I mean value property, this means that whatever uh, if you are landing onto this particular coach view and something is pre-populated in this object like request type dot request details dot request type, so you have to specify what property in that object we need to use as a value, and what is the display value. You need to provide the selection data, so that when this coach loads up, that particular item is selected in the drop down. Like if the drop down has values a b c, and your request details dot request type has value b, so b, or and the value is also b maybe. So in order for b to be shown in this drop down, you have to provide the property that is holding the value and the property that is holding the name. Okay, so b will be selected whenever this coach comes up if the data resides in the relevant business object. So value, it has to be taken from the value, and name has to be taken from the name component of this particular object, this one. Okay, this one which you are binding over here. Okay, similarly, output business data, that means that whenever you select something from this drop down, what needs to where do we need to get the value from, and where do we need to get the name from. So in my business data, in my the object, I am storing the value in value and the name in name. I want the value to be stored in the value component of this, and name to be stored in the name component of this particular object. So I will just type name over here. And this rule stays the same. I mean, whenever you use a name value pair, this will, if you have some other, object maybe of type, maybe, uh, let's say it's another type called request details maybe. So you have to clearly specify, and it has 4 or 5 items like name, value, ID, something else. You have to clearly specify which item will hold my value and which property will hold my name. You have to clearly specify. Okay, so this is the binding of this control. And let's see the next one, request state. Request state simply will be binded with request details dot request start date, and requester ID will be binded with the request details dot the requester ID. Okay, so this is done, and this one has to be read only. So I'll go to the configurations, because this request state will not be chosen by the user himself. He'll be, it will be auto populated. Okay, so I'm going to just go over here, visibility, and I'm going to make it read only. It will be read only always. Okay. uh, Rest, I mean, these are already display text, so we don't have to change the visibility at all. This request type, we are going to, we can define its look, whenever we initiate a request, I mean, we have to select the request type, what sort of account or what sort of request it is. But for the later tasks, whenever we have initiated the instance, we won't be editing this request type. So for those tasks, we have to keep it as read only. So what we can do, we can define a configuration option over here as request type visibility, and we can, go over here, go to the visibility tab. Okay, visibility, this tab, and we can select this variable. Like, this variable will be controlling the visibility of request type. Okay, this configuration option, whenever we pass read only to this configuration option or to this variable, the control will show as read only. If we pass required, it will show as required, will the star over here, the asterisk will be shown along with the field. And if we pass it as editable, it will be editable, I mean, but no asterisk will be shown. Okay, so this is it. We have done this coach view. This first coach view is ready. Okay, now similarly what we will do is we'll create the other coach views that we have. Okay, so request details is done, and I'm going to close it, and I'm going to proceed with the other coach views that are to be designed. The other one, maybe we can target that is customer info. Okay, let's target this one, customer info. So I'm going to go to the user interface. I'm going to go into the views, and I'm going to say customer info CV. Okay, I'm going to finish this, and then similarly I'll have a panel. Okay, I can have a panel over here. This panel can be named as customer information. Okay, now it becomes very easy for us, because we have already learned how to create sections and how to drag drop fields. So I'll similarly first put a vertical layout, and then I'll put a horizontal layout. When you use a vertical layout, I mean, any component that you drag drop into that vertical layout will be arranged vertically, right? So I'll put a horizontal layout, I'll put another horizontal layout, and maybe another horizontal layout. And then in this horizontal layout, since I need to have a 2-column approach, what I can do is, I mean, there can be multiple approaches, but I always put multiple horizontal sections in one section. This is my way of doing it. Maybe there is a 2-column section or something like that. You can explore that, okay, on your own, but this is how I have been doing it. Okay, I'll just drag drop. Okay, so sorry, I think this got drag dropped wrongly. This, now it is fine. So this is my layout. I can just pick the fields from here one by one. What is the title, full name, nationality? Okay, let's put them in one by one. Title can be, now it will be editable, so it has to be a plain text, or title can be a drop down. Let's put a select over here. Okay, we'll put a select title. Okay, what else do we have? We have title, we have full name. Full name can be a plain text. Okay, So I drag drop a plain text from here and I'm going to name it as full name. What else? We have nationality. Nationality is again, it's a list. So we'll have a select, single select, and we are going to name it as nationality. Okay, what else do we have? We have gender, date of birth, marital status, residence, and language. We have gender. Gender can be a radio button group. Okay, gender. Okay, and then we have date of birth. Okay, date of birth will be a date time. And then we have marital status, residence, and language. Marital status, of course, it can be, a radio button again. And then I guess we need to have another horizontal layout. Okay, over here. And then we can put in 2 horizontal layouts in it. Residence can be a plain text. And language will be a drop down again. Okay, so this is marital status, and this one is gender. Okay, so we have labeled everything correctly. Now let's move on to the configurations and business data definition. So I'll just add a business data over here. I'll click the plus button. I'll say customer info, and I'll select customer info from here. Okay, maybe we need to change some data types as well. Title, I said it's a drop down, so I'll just keep it as a name value pair. Okay, and then I also said that language is again a drop down, so I'll keep it as a name value pair. Okay, for the rest, I mean gender, it will be a single gender that is selected, so it can easily be a simple string. We don't have to have a name value pair for this. Okay, layout. Now I'm going to bind the fields, okay, with whatever we have defined, or before that we can even define the configuration options. So even nationality nationality is already a name value pair. So what we can do now is we can define the configuration options. Let's see if this is a drop down, title is a drop down, nationality is a drop down, and then we have language as a drop down. So we are going to define configuration options. Title is a list, nationality is a list, and then we have language as a list. Okay, all of these are lists. We are going to go over here. We are going to first define the bindings out from the customer info. Title is to be binded with title, full name can be binded with the full name, nationality can be binded with the nationality, gender can be binded with the gender. Okay, and then what is this? This is date of birth. Date of birth can be binded with the date of birth. Marital status can be binded with the marital status. And then residence can be binded with the residence parameter. Language can be binded with the language parameter. Okay, once we have done these bindings, the next step is to define to bind the configurations for this drop down. So I'm going to go to the items. Okay, let's first select this control. I go to the items. Lookup mode, item lookup mode is from configuration options. Again, I'm going to select the title list I have, and it's not a string list, sorry, it's a name value pair list. So let's change the data type. It's a name value pair list. Okay, this is also a name value pair list. Okay, and then this is also a name value pair list. Okay, so I'm just going to change the data type. Okay, I go to this again, I open the configurations. Okay, it's a name value pair. Again, I'll say that selection is value and name, and output what you select, then value, the property should be value, and the name should go into name. Similarly, I can do it for other drop downs like configurations, items from configuration option. Items input data is its nationality. Okay, value will go into value, and display name will go into name, value, and then name. Nationality is done. Now the next one is gender. Okay, this is a bit different. Maybe I can say maybe static list. Okay, static list, and we can say please add male, male, and female. Okay, so I'm not defining it using some configuration option. I'm keeping it a static list, female. Okay, so it reflects over here as well. Date of birth, I have already binded it. Marital status, again, configurations, items, we can say from static list. Okay, and then I can say married or single. Name is single, value is single, and I can say married. Okay, so this is also done, and this does not I don't think this is required over here. Okay, because we are binding it with the simple string over here, so we don't need to define this item selection data. Okay, okay, language is left, so language, items from configuration option, items input data is language, value, name, and then value and name. Okay, so this completes our configuration. We can check the visibilities later on. Okay, what we need to do with the visibilities. For now, let it stay as is. Okay, we can simply define some configuration options for the visibilities of these fields and make them read only wherever it is required, but we can target it later. Let's complete the coach views in this session first. So customer info is done. What's the next? We have the next object. Let's see. So let's target the address details. Okay, I'll similarly go into the user interface, and I'll create a view over here. I'll name it as address details. Okay, and similarly I'll first put a vertical layout, and then I'll put multiple horizontal layouts. One horizontal layout, another horizontal layout, and maybe another one, and then in each horizontal I'll put two more horizontals. And one thing I forgot to add a panel, so maybe we can add a panel as well at the very top, and we can drag drop the entire vertical section that we have like this into the panel. Okay, and the panel can be named as this is the vertical, right? So I have to drag drop this entire vertical section into this panel, like due to some reason it is not dragging in there correctly, so I can redo it. Okay, I'll name it as address details. Okay, then it will have a vertical layout, and then it will have multiple horizontal layouts. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and within each horizontal layout we can have 2 more horizontal layouts, like this. Just find the yellow line and just drag drop. Okay, so this is also done. Let's see the fields now. Which fields we need to put into this address details. We have address line 1, address line 2, city, street, mobile number, email address. Okay, so we can have plain text. Address line 1, address line 2, city, street, mobile number, and email address. Mobile number can also be a plain text, okay, and email address can also be a plain text. We can later apply regex to control that mobile number should have a specific format and email should have a specific format. We can easily apply a regular expression, okay, using on the plain text field. There is an option over here to apply a regular expression, so it won't allow you to enter anything that violates the regular expression, okay. So let's rename the fields. Address line 1, address line 2, street, city could have been a drop down, okay, let's not do it for now, okay, let's keep it as is, city. And then what else we have mobile number and email address, okay, we have mobile number and email address. Okay, now let's do the binding of these variables. We can have business data. Business data will be address details, okay, and we simply have to select the relevant business object, and then we go onto our layout and we have to bind the field. Similarly, we have done for other coach views. Address line 1, address line 2, then street, then city, then mobile number, and then email address. Okay, so how many have we created so far? Let's see. We have address details, customer info, and request details, and we are left with ID info, financial details, and account details. Let's target the ID info first. Okay, so similarly, you'll go over here, you will create a view, ID info CV. You can add a panel. Okay, the panel can be named as ID info, okay, and you can simply drag drop a vertical layout first. Within the vertical layout you can have multiple horizontal layouts, horizontal layout 1, horizontal layout 2, maybe a third one as well, and then you can have multiple horizontal layouts within these horizontal layouts to give it a 2-column layout. Over here, okay, and this one first over here, and then Next to the horizontal layout, we add another horizontal layout, drag one horizontal layout, drag the other horizontal layout. Okay, let's see the fields now. Okay, we have document name, number, and we have the issue date, expiry date, place of birth, and country of birth. Okay, so we have document name. Document name maybe can be a drop down list, or let's keep it at, okay, we can have it as a drop down list. Okay, or we can have a radio button perhaps. Let's use a radio button. Okay, what's the name? Name is document name, like it's national ID or it's a passport. Then we can have the document number. It can be a plain text. Okay, document name, document number. What else? We can have date. So it's the issue date, it's the expiry date. What else? I have to check it. Place of birth and country of birth, and these two can be easily lists. Select place of birth and country of birth. Okay, these are drop downs. So document name, document number, issue date, when the passport or national ID was issued, when it is meant to expire is the next one. It's issue date, expiry date. Okay, second one is expiry date. Okay, and then this one is place of birth, and this one is country of birth. Okay, let's just do the bindings. And before doing the binding, of course, we have to define the business data. This is ID info and its data type is ID info. Okay, and configuration options, of course, place of birth has to be a name value pair list because it is to be binded with the drop down. And country of birth would also be a list of type name value pair. Okay, do we have any other? No, these are just the only drop downs we have. So I'm now going to bind my relevant fields with the relevant objects. So this one is document name. Okay, this one is document number, this one is issue date, this one is expiry date, and this one is place of birth, and this last one is country of birth. Okay, the bindings are done, but we need to do the configurations of the drop downs. So place of birth configurations, again, how to define its list. Item configuration option, item input data would be this place of birth list, and again we have to define this. We have to identify the parameters for value and name, and here as well, value and name. This is identified. Similarly, we have to do it for country of birth. Item is configuration option, item input is this country of birth, value is value, name is name, display is name, again value property is value, display property is name. Okay, and visibility is how we can handle later on. Okay, once we begin the task services, okay, we start appending the task services on the coach views. From there we can start defining the visibilities, what visibilities we need to have on certain tasks. Okay, probably will have read only for the branch checker and the account opening authorizer, and editable for the branch maker and account opening maker, all the fields. Okay, so we can handle that later once we start defining the task services, but for now the goal was to complete all the coach views and the relevant bindings for the fields. Okay, so the next one is I think it's the second last we have. It's the financial details. Okay, let's quickly define this and then we'll just go on to the account details and finish the session. User interface. Okay, I'll define this view, financial details, financial details CV, finish. I'll similarly add a panel. Okay, and the panel will be named as financial details. On the panel, I'll similarly have a vertical layout, and then we can have multiple horizontal layouts. Within the horizontal layout, we'll have 2 more horizontal layouts. And then after that, we can, simply define our business object, financial info, and financial details is the relevant business object. We can, name it as financial details. Okay, it's up to us. I mean, there is no hard and fast rule. You can name anything as you like, but best to give it a name where it is easy to identify. Okay. Okay, what's next? So employer name, job title, net monthly income, and initial deposit amount. Okay, so job title obviously will be a drop down. Let me close these extra CVs that are open. Okay, and I can simply move on to so we can have job title. Job title will be definitely a select. Okay, what else? We have the employer name. It will be maybe a plain text. Okay, what else? We have net monthly income and initial deposit amount, which will be decimals. So we can have decimal from here. We'll say net monthly income and initial deposit amount. Okay, these will be decimal. So let's start renaming. Job title. This one was employer name. This is net monthly income. And this one is initial deposit amount. Again, we'll go to the variables tab and we'll define a configuration option for the job title, which will be a name value pair list. Job title list is a list of name value pair. Okay, and we can do the bindings now. So here, financial details, job title, employer name, financial details dot employer name. Then net monthly income will be financial details dot net monthly income. Initial deposit amount will be financial details dot initial deposit amount, and we are left with the configuration of this one. Configurations items. We'll have items from configuration option. Select is job title list. Again, the selection, I have to specify the properties in the object which hold the selection and the output business data. Value, name, again the value and name. I choose. I want the selected data to go into these properties. Okay, so this is done. This coach view is also done. Okay, visibilities I told you I'm going to handle later once we incorporate these coach views onto the coaches in the relevant human task services. So the last one is account opening. The last object that we have is account details. Okay, account details is a bit complex because it has a table as well. Okay, so let's create this coach view and wrap the session up. So view, this is going to be account details CV. Okay, again we are going to put a panel over here, panel, and we can name it as account details. And in this panel we can have a vertical layout, and then vertical we can have multiple horizontal layouts within this vertical layout. Okay, horizontal layout 1, horizontal layout 2, horizontal layout 3, maybe a fourth one as well depending on how many fields we have. Then 2 horizontal layouts within this horizontal layout. Again 2 horizontal layouts, and maybe in the last one we can have the same. So the next thing we have to do is we have to define the business object, account details. Account details, and then after that we have to place our relevant fields. Let's put this account list first. Okay, for this what I can do is I can just put a horizontal layout. Okay, and I can define a table. Okay, a table which will hold my multiple accounts. Okay, this table could be accounts, sorry, don't have to save anything, accounts or account list. Okay, and in this account list I can have multiple columns. We basically have, I think, 2 columns, account type and account currency. Okay, account type and account currency. So account type is a select, single select account type, and account currency is also a select. Okay, so this is the account type, and this one is the account currency. Okay, and then since we have this, we have to define a configuration option as well for the account type list. Okay, list of type name value pair, because we can have multiple accounts, okay, which can be chosen from. And then account currency, it's also a list, sorry, name value pair list. Okay, let's do the bindings, okay, for this table. So what you do is you go to the account details and you simply choose the list, okay, which is to be binded with the table, which is account list. And then for each item you select on this particular column, okay, field I mean in the table, and then you select the account details, this is the account list, and you choose the account type. For this one, I mean it's the account currency, so within the account list you select the account currency. So this is how binding of a table is done. And then again the configurations, for the configurations you have to select the field configurations items, this is exactly the same. Okay, item input data will be account type here, and this again same value name value and name. For the other one as well, value, account currency first, please select from configuration option, we have to select the account currency, and then value, name, value and name. Okay, so this completes the binding, and we have to give options to delete and add a entry to the table. So selection, I mean we don't want to select any item in the table, okay, but we need to show the delete button and we need to show the add button. Okay, so user can delete and add entries from this table. Okay, so for now we can have this as selected directly from here, but for the read only task, I mean we have to pass a configuration option. Okay, or let's do it now, show add button. it's a boolean. Okay, and then show delete button, again it's a boolean. Again, the visibilities I said we'll handle later on, but just for, just to illustrate, I can, do this one now. But the individual field visibilities like account type, account currency, we can handle that later. So configurations, if I go to the this behavior, I can say please use this configuration option to, show this delete button, and then use this configuration option. So from whichever, task service I pass as true, it will start showing the button. If I pass it false, the boolean as false, it will, hide the relevant button. Okay, I have configuration option for both. What else? What other fields do we have? We need to, just drag drop and finish it off. We have request debit card, card type, card name, and delivery address. Okay, so we can have one over here, request debit card, which can be a radio button. Okay, so it can be request debit card. We can have options values as configuration, appearance, behavior, or items from static list. Okay, static list will be yes or no, yes, no, yes, no. Okay, so these are the two options we get. And when it's, selected as no, we have to define some fields over here. Let's define them quickly. We have, and its visibilities we'll handle later. I mean, when it's yes, we have to, make these fields required, otherwise we have to hide them. Card type, card name, and delivery address. Maybe we can have another horizontal section, this one over here like this, and we can have plain text. Card type will be a select. Okay, card type will be a select. Card type, so it goes over here, and we don't need this extra. Delete. I'll delete this in fact. Okay, card type, and I'll put one more in card name, plain text. Card name goes over here, and then delivery address. First I'll put a horizontal like this, and then I'll put a plain text. So this is card type, this is card name, and this one is delivery address. Okay, so card type, I can simply, bind it with this card type. It has to be a name value pair. Let's convert it into a name value pair. Then before doing that, I can, card name and delivery address can be binded. Okay, let's do the card type. Let's convert it into a name value pair over here. Card type will be a name value pair. Okay, and I can now bind this like this. Okay, so this completes the this coach view as well. We have the account list, the table is binded, it will have the add or delete button. We have the request debit card, and based on this debit card, if it's yes is selected, we will show card type, card name, delivery address. I'll show you how to implement the on change events, and based on the on change events, we can simply make the visibilities of these fields as required. If yes is selected, and we can simply hide the fields. We can make the visibility as none if no is selected, and this can be done simply over here. Okay, in these events we can write functions. Okay, what we will do is we'll select this and we will go into its events, and we have to specify on change what we need to do. We can write code over here, or we can define a function which we can write in an inline JavaScript. Based on this function, we can get the relevant controls from here. Using their IDs, we can get these controls and set their visibilities accordingly. Okay, so this we can target for the upcoming sessions, but my major goal right now is to complete these coach views are done. Obviously, in the next session we'll create the coaches, the human task services, and bind them with the business flow, and we'll try to execute the flow. Okay, so that is all for now. In the next session, hopefully we'll carry out the stuff I mentioned. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.